Hola everyone, welcome to our channel Online Podcast Reviewer Episode 1. Nowadays, podcasts hold great importance in sharing knowledge with a large number of people. The motto of this channel is to review the content said in the podcast and assure whether the right information is being sent to the masses. For initializing, or I can say starting on a technical front, we will be reviewing cybersecurity podcasts. For the same, we have selected 3 podcasts which are easily accessible on YouTube. So tighten your seatbelts and let's get started.
Hello everyone, I am Shreyan Sheth. To begin with the podcast review, we have our first podcast from the Messengers podcast titled as Cyber Security Basics. There are two speakers in this podcast. The first speaker is Chris Serials, who is currently working for Serials Graphic, and Rob Seifert. This podcast mainly discusses on the basics of cyber security procedures and policies that every individual should follow. That is, how to generate a strong and efficient password, antivirus software basics, and what is a firewall and discussion of firewall.
One thing between our sensitive information and criminals is our password. If they get our password, they can get into our bank accounts and sensitive information and create havoc. For this reason, it is important to know that what makes a password strong and secure. Length plays important role in strength of password. In addition of single word, phrases can also be used. It may be a song or a quote. For example, Jack and Jill went up the hill. It is easy to remember. Here, first letter of each word would be the password, and this is the password, and that's not easy to guess. This password can be made more stronger by adding uppercase letters, numbers, and special characters. So now this is a strong password. Now moving on to antivirus software. It is the policeman at the gate of a computer system. It protects the system from incoming threats, seeks out, destroys, and warns of possible threats to the system. There are various antivirus softwares available, such as Norton, Bullguard, Panda, etc. We need to regularly update these softwares for the maximum protection of our system. Now, moving on to firewall. It is a system that is designed to prevent unauthorized access from entering a private network. By filtering the information from the internet, it blocks the unwanted traffic and permits the wanted traffic. So, the main purpose of firewall is to create a safety barrier between a private network and public internet. On internet there are many hackers and malicious users that are ready to access the private network, which can cause harm and manipulate the data. Thus, firewall acts as the basic component for the protection of hackers and malicious users. Thus, the podcast on cybersecurity basics by the Messenger was informative and self explanatory. The next podcast review would be done by Ajay Upadhyay.
Now we would move to our second podcast. The podcast is titled as Cybersecurity Podcast with Ryan from Dashlane. There are 3 people who have participated in this podcast, namely Christopher Magnuson, founder and CEO Blackboard Internet, Michael Trotman, founder and chairman Think AG and Absolute Sports. Both of them are vloggers and portray their daily life through vlogs and also participate in various podcasts all over the world. The third speaker is Ryan Merchant, Senior Manager, Dashlane. Dashlane is an organization which provides solutions to manage important account passwords intelligently and automatically. Also, The social media handles of all the speakers will be provided at the end of the video. Talking about the podcast, it started with a crisp introduction about what topics will be covered in the podcast. The main speaker in the whole podcast was Ryan Merchant. He initiated the podcast by starting to talk about his knowledge and experience and how Dashlane is different from other organizations working in the same field. Also, Ryan was asked questions on the work environment of his current organization Dashlane and also about the previous startup which he used to work in, Fab.com. After a brief introduction about their background, the podcast then moved towards password and data security. For starting with the same, he gave some good examples to explain password security and its importance. He also stated that Germany as a country has better security than US and many other countries. He also listed down some common passwords which people tend to keep like 12345, QWERTY, baseball and football. He stated these passwords as the main reason behind data breachability. After this, the discussion moved towards what should be the best password, and also there were discussions on the role of companies providing services in the same domain, that is, password management. He explains how password managers operate and how it can make a life of an individual easy by storing every password at a single place with good security and less chances of getting affected to breaches. The speakers then had a brief discussion about social media and its disadvantages. How social media has made the life of every person public. Later, in the end of this video, the speakers had a discussion about different social media breaches, and everyone unknowingly is putting their lives in danger. From my perspective, the podcast was a good blend of security and also about the breaches which occur due to lack of secure passwords and human inefficiency. If told to rate on a 5, I would rate this podcast a 4.
Hello everyone, I'm Vivek Nikam. The next podcast we will be reviewing is by Cyberwork, which talks about phishing, malware, and hacking. In this video, we have two speakers, Atif Mustaq, founder and CEO of Slash Next, and Cyberwork host Chris Sinko, discussing about phishing, malware, and hacking. This video starts with discussing about what phishing is. According to Atif, phishing is the psychological manipulation of an online user, and typically hackers exploit three human emotions: fear, trust, and reward. Fear is that there might be a page that will say there is virus on your computer and you need to call on so and so number to get rid of it. Someone uses scare tactics to get you to do something. Sometimes people use trust. For example, someone can send you an email pretending to be your boss, and because you trust your boss, you are gonna do something on that guy's behalf, right? Or maybe they can send you a phishing link that is a fake replica of any site like say Microsoft, and now you trust Microsoft, and so you're gonna do whatever they want to say, right? And the most important emotion that leads to phishing is the reward. We are seeing a lot of phishing attacks that are just exploiting the human greed element, where someone is promising you a free iPhone or say a free laptop or something else, and they ask you for your information. So, according to Atif, if you really want to design a good anti-phishing solution, you need to have a completed software that can understand these three human emotions, and unless you have a system that can understand these human emotions, you won't be able to develop an anti-phishing solution. So, as of now, to prevent yourself from phishing, do not click on any links, download files, or open attachments in emails from unknown senders. So moving on to the malware section, malware is malicious software that infects and takes control of users' internet browsers. It is downloaded to computers as users open attachments in deceptive mails, click on links to infected websites, or download pirated software or apps. Once individual computers are infected, criminal organizations create networks of these computers called botnets, which mimic human behavior and defraud advertisers by generating non-human traffic. To your system from malware attacks, one of the most important steps that we can take is to install security software from a reliable company and keep it updated, as the hackers can develop new ways to get into your system. And also set your browser and operating system to update automatically too. And do not download or buy antivirus from unexpected messages or emails, especially if they say that they have scanned your computer and found malware. Backup all your files. With ransomware becoming bigger and bigger threat to your data, it would certainly pay to make regular backups of all your files. With this data backed up, even if you fall victim to a ransomware attack, there is no need to pay the ransom, as you can simply access your backed up data. So that's it from my side. Thank you.